Taken away from him through no fault of his own. Today in Monte Carlo, it's redemption day for Daniel Ricciardo. He wins the Monaco Grand Prix.
Amazing. I don't know how you did that, Daniel. Incredible.
In 2014, the Formula One world was convinced of one thing. Daniel Ricciardo was a future world champion. He didn't just beat Sebastian Vettel, the reigning four-time world champion, he dismantled him. He was the honey badger. He was the late-breaking king. He was the most marketable, most beloved, and arguably the fastest man on the planet. But F1 is a game of musical chairs where the music never stops, and the chairs are moving at 200 miles per hour. Today, Daniel Ricciardo is gone, not with a championship trophy, but with the fastest lap in a midfield car and a quiet exit through the back door of the paddock. How did the man who had the world at his feet end up with nowhere to stand? This is the story of how bad decisions killed a legendary career. The beginning of the end started with a single phone call on a flight to Los Angeles. In 2018, Daniel Ricciardo was at the peak of his powers. He just won in Monaco. He was Red Bull's golden boy. But there was a shadow growing in the garage, Max Verstappen. Every tragedy has a catalyst. For Daniel, it was Baku 2018. After a race-ending collision with his teammate, Max Verstappen,
but he's going to try and dive down. The inside, they have crashed. They've gone into each other. Daniel Ricciardo, late braking, couldn't stop in time. Max Verstappen was right in front of him.
Daniel felt the air in the room change. He saw the prodigy getting the protection while he was getting the blame. He made a choice. He decided he would rather be the number one at a midfield team than the number two at a winning one. He signed a massive $30 million a year contract with Renault. He traded his best chance at a title for a paycheck and a project. It was the moment he stopped being a driver and started being a businessman. People called it a bold move, like Lewis Hamilton's jump to Mercedes. But there was one difference. Mercedes had a plan. Renault had a PR budget. He traded a championship-winning car for a fresh start and a bigger paycheck. It was the first domino to fall. To be fair, the Renault years weren't a total disaster. In 2020, Daniel was driving like a man possessed. He dragged that car to 2 podiums. He looked elite again. But Daniel was impatient. During the 2020 lockdown, before the first race was even run, he panicked. He saw a seat at McLaren and jumped ship again. He didn't wait to see if Renault's Project Alpine would work. He just wanted the next shiny object. He spent his career chasing the best car instead of building one. And that's when he walked into the McLaren trap. McLaren was supposed to be the comeback. Instead, it was the funeral. Daniel walked in expecting to be the lead driver, only to find a young Lando Norris who was faster, hungrier, and perfectly tuned to the car. What people don't tell you is that Daniel Ricciardo has a very narrow window. He needs a car he can feel. The McLaren was a tractor that required a driving style Daniel simply couldn't learn. For one Sunday in Monza, the old Daniel returned.
Yeah! He won! He did it!
But that win was a mask. Behind the scenes, he was lost. He was being exposed every weekend. By the end of 2022, he suffered the ultimate humiliation. McLaren paid him $18 million just to leave. His stock had plummeted. The man who once outdrove Vettel was now being paid to stay home. In 2023, Red Bull gave him a mercy lifeline, a seat at AlphaTauri, now VCarb. The goal was simple. Prove you're still better than Sergio Perez, and we'll give you your old Red Bull seat back. It was a 14-month job interview, but the fairy tale never happened. In Zandvoort, a broken hand sidelined him, allowing a young Liam Lawson to step in and show the world what the future looked like. When Daniel returned, the spark was gone. He wasn't dominating his teammate, Yuki Tsunoda. He was struggling for points in the B team. The Honey Badger was now just a veteran holding onto a seat that the Red Bull program wanted to give to a rookie. Singapore 2024. Everyone in the paddock knew. The writing was on the wall. In a move that felt more like a thank you than a strategy, the team let him pit for fresh tires to grab the fastest lap. One last crack at being the fastest man on track. Daniel Ricciardo's career followed a different cycle than Max's. If Max is the respect cycle, Daniel is the stagnation cycle. The hype. The giant killer at Red Bull. The choice. Fleeing the fight with Max. The decline. Chasing the car instead of the competition. The end. Realizing that in F1, you can't go home again. He left the sport as a hero, a legend, and a personality that F1 will desperately miss. But he also left as the biggest what if in modern history. He didn't lose his speed, he lost his way. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, hit subscribe and check out some other videos. And don't forget to get your F1 art to be ready for 2026 season.